Welcome everyone. How are you doing today? Thank you for always coming back to this channel. Thank you for joining me today. I'm going to be cooking stew and I have few and very nice ingredients I'm going to be using. First, I'm going to introduce you to this paste here. It comprises of the onions. I use two onion bulbs. I use the bell pepper. I use 2 of that as well. And 12 tomato. You see it right there. And I use 4 scotch bonnet pepper, onion, and garlic. Those are the things I blended in this bowl. So after blending it, I put it in the pot yesterday and warmed it to dry the water. So after it's dry, that's why it's a little thick. Normally when you blend it, it's gonna be a little watery. So by the time you put it in the pot and put it on the fire, you get this paste. So we'll be using the chicken as well. Fish, I fried it already to save me some time. This is the cow skin. Beef, it's been boiled. If you want to know how I boil my chicken or beef, you can check the video with the jollof rice. I show the steps which I take to boil those things. My onions, if you've been in this channel for a while, you will know I love onions. That's the flavor you want to have in every food. And my spice, garlic powder, ginger powder, thyme, curry. So those are the spices I'm going to be using. The first thing to do, you get the pot, pour in the oil, like 3 cooking spoons, add some onions. When the oil is hot, add some oil. Because we want the flavor in the onions to go into the oil, the vegetable oil, we will allow it stir fry for like 2 seconds. The next thing to do is to add the tomatoes, the one blended. I told you, whenever I blend my tomatoes, I put it in the pot immediately to drain the water, because I don't want to waste too much time when I want to cook. So I already dried the water, so it's like half done. If you are just blending your own tomatoes now, you can just put it in a pot for like 10 to 15 minutes. Depends on how the tomatoes is, if it's the one that has a lot of water or if it's the one that doesn't have too much water. Just leave it in the pot. It's going to dry up. When you see that it's becoming thick, then you off your gas or stove, whatever you're using. Then you continue with this process. So I have left that first step. I did that yesterday because I don't want to waste too much time when I'm explaining now. We'll leave these tomatoes we'll leave it to boil like 5 minutes before I'll come back to add some spice. So it's been 5 minutes. This has been boiling. The next thing is to add the cow skin, because we want it to be soft and tasty. Add the cow skin. Add your beef. Today I didn't fry any beef. I didn't fry the chicken. I just want to cook it like that because not all the time we eat it fried. So I'm going to add the spice so that I can go into the beef and the cow skin in the tomatoes right now. So this is the spice, the seasoning cube, the garlic powder, ginger powder, the curry and the thyme. I'm going to add it here. If I need some water, instead of putting water, since I have my meat stock still here, I'll just add a little bit because I don't want to put too much of it. That's why I'm adding spice first. If not, if I'm going to use a lot of the meat stock, I will not add the spice now because of so that the salt won't be too much in the stew. But because it's just a little bit I will need for this, that's why I'm adding the spice right now. I will allow the meat and the cow skin in the puree to boil for another 5 minutes, and I'll check back. So just to mention, this spice I use, this is what works for me. So this is after 5 minutes. I'm going to be adding the meat stock. I told you I'm not going to add too much, just a little bit to loosen the thickness of the tomatoes. After adding the beef stock, you see that it has loosened up a little bit. It's looking more like the stew now. I'm going to add the chicken in here. So after adding the chicken, I'm going to check the salt if it's to my desired taste or if I need any other ingredient. But meanwhile, I'm going to put just 2 of my bay leaves into the mixture, then check the salt. So it needs just a little bit of salt. Cover this to boil for another 10 to 15 minutes. It's going to boil for another 10 to 15 minutes. This bay leaf, I'm going to remove it when the stew is ready. It's just to add some natural taste to the stew. So this is the time to add our fish. See how it's splashing? That's to show you that the stew is almost ready. When you see it splashing that way. I put the fish last so that it doesn't scatter, so that it's not broken. You can see it. So I'm gonna cover it now and leave it to boil for another 5 minutes. And our stew should have been done by then. We'll see. Stay tuned. It's time to check our stew and see how far it has come. Yeah, our stew is ready. So this is 3-in-1. You can decide to cook only chicken stew. You can decide to cook only fish stew, and you can also decide to cook the beef stew if you want. I use 3-in-1 because the eat fish can eat fish, whoever wants chicken can eat chicken, and whoever wants the beef can eat the beef. Plus the pomo is also extra. So thank you for joining me today. I'm happy to have you here. Thank you for joining me. I hope you learned something today. Have a wonderful time.